reigns.
Amen. Let's be seated, please. Thank you. This is to officially welcome us all to the 2024 annual staff retreat of Africa Youth Growth Foundation, AYGF. This is a press conference to exert our voices. And as an organization that is focused on anything to better the affairs of the country, we want to lend our voice through our executive director to the issues that are going on in the country as we stand. And so I will be handing over the microphone to the executive director to give his address at this moment.
Introduction.
Okay,
I
so
think there's an agenda, sorry.
we will have an introduction of all the press people that are here, and
Okay, you happy though?
we'll have an introduction.
No, it's important. We need the media to introduce
Okay,
themselves.
so we need the media people to introduce themselves also.
It's a media conference.
Yes. Okay, so let's hear from the media people first before we move to our side.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Joseph Ido, and I work for News Central Television. Good morning, all. My name is Olatunji Oladipo.
Good morning, my name is Patience Imoru. I work for the Development and Development.
Thank you very much. So to our side of the table, I would begin with my executive director, sir.
Let them introduce themselves. Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm Arome Salifu, the Executive Director, AYGF.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning,
everyone. SMO, Senior Human Resource Officer, AYGF.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Omonike Onimbobo, the M&E Manager of the AYGF.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Aleka Gambo, Finance Manager of the AYGF.
Good morning. I am Elsie, Head of Programs Manager.
Thank you very much. And I am Rosemary, your anchor person. So we'll move straight to the address by the executive director. Thank you, sir.
AYGF 2024 Annual Staff Retreat Press Conference addressing the state of the nation, insecurity, and the economy. Gentlemen of the press, members of the public, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we warmly welcome you to this press conference. Every year, the Africa Youth Growth Foundation, AYGF, holds its staff retreat, a week-long capacity building training and reform to aid in the development of our staff. To commence this memorable day, we would like to utilize this opportunity to address the state of the nation in relation to insecurity and the economy in particular. For more than a decade, Nigeria has been plagued by unprecedented occurrences of violence, crime, and insecurity. In recent years, the rise of herders-farmers clashes has been notable, with Benue State at the center experiencing the deadliest attacks. The disputes over land and resources, intensified by climate change and the spread of the Sahara Desert, have led to violent conflicts resulting in numerous casualties. The recent attacks in Plateau State further highlight the urgent need for intervention and resolution in these communal conflicts. In 2022, the Islamic State for West Africa Province, ISWAP, continued to operate and control territories, facing setbacks from the military's counter-insurgency campaign and infighting with Boko Haram. The Northwest witnessed deadless raids and kidnappings for ransom by various bandit groups, adding to the complexity of the security situation. The Middle Belt region, characterized by conflicts between pastoralists and farming communities, contributed to over 57% of reported civilian fatalities. These challenges emphasize the necessity for a comprehensive and strategic approach to address the root causes of insecurity in Nigeria. Nigeria's southern states faced occasional outbreaks of violence, including banditry, cultism, increasing electoral violence, among others. The Southeast witnessed an intensified separatist insurgency by the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, leading to attacks against security forces and electoral officials in the last general elections. The proliferation of local security outfits, while praised for assisting federal security forces, raises concerns about accountability, human rights abuses, and the alleged collusion with local political elites. Notably, Nigeria was cited as one of the most violent countries in Africa, with an increase in political violence events and approximately 3,900 fatalities resulting from violence targeting civilians. The Northwest and the Middle Belt regions accounted for 2/3 of overall civilian fatalities, emphasizing the need for concerted effort to address violence against civilians nationwide. This is according to Armed Conflict Location and Event Data Project. Kidnapping, particularly the abduction of schoolchildren, poses a severe threat to families in Nigeria. Over 1,000 students have been abducted since December 2020. Even before that, the abduction of Chibok girls in 2014 shook the nation at large, with kidnapping industry expanding into previously safe areas. Barely a week into the new year, 5 sisters were abducted by armed gunmen in Abuja, the nation's capital, with the eldest being executed despite the payment of the ransom provided. In another case, 30 people were abducted along the Abuja-Kaduna highway at Dogon Fili in northwestern Kaduna State. Mass abductions and kidnapping for ransom have been a nationwide problem for several years, but have kickstarted in the new year at a rapid pace. The need for effective measures to counteract this threat is evident, as it jeopardizes education, livelihood, the well-being of rural and urban communities and citizens at large. One could only fault the increase in crime and violence nationwide on the current state of the Nigerian economy, as it has become evidently unbearable for the average Nigerian to get by financially and in all other ramifications. In June 2023, the decision to abolish the fuel subsidy scheme was aimed at redirecting funds towards public infrastructure, education, healthcare, and job creation by newly elected president. The removal of fuel subsidies in Nigeria resulted in a significant rise in transportation costs and food prices across the country, impacting daily lives of Nigerians. Various critics noted that the decision would have drastically increased poverty level and disproportionately impact the most vulnerable sectors of society, which was the case in the immediate aftermath. In addressing these challenges, AYGF emphasizes the importance of collaborative efforts between government authorities, security forces, and the civil society to implement strategic interventions and policies that prioritize the safety and well-being of Nigerian citizens. We hereby release and submit the following recommendations to both the government and the non-state actors and stakeholders. 1, integrated approach to security and economic development. Advocating for an integrated approach that addresses both the economic challenges and insecurity concurrently. The government should formulate comprehensive policies that synergize efforts to boost economic growth while simultaneously addressing security concerns. This might include increasing targeted investment in key sectors, such as agriculture and infrastructure, to stimulate economic development and create employment opportunities, thereby contributing to enhanced security. 2, strengthening intelligence and security cooperation. The importance of strengthening intelligence capacities and fostering collaboration among security agencies cannot be overemphasized. We recommend the establishment of a coordinated and intelligence-driven approach to counter insecurity, involving information sharing and joint operations both at local and national levels. 3, investment in youth empowerment and skill development. Increase investment in youth empowerment programs and skill development initiatives. The government should focus on equipping the youth with relevant skills for employment and entrepreneurship. This approach not only addresses economic challenges by fostering skilled workforce, but also mitigates the risk of youth involvement in criminal activities due to unemployment and, of course, even irregular migration. 4, transparency, accountability in economic management. The government should communicate openly about economic policies, budget allocations, and resource management at all fronts, with more effective measures to curb corruption and ensure that financial resources are utilized effectively for sustainable development, fostering public trust and contributing to economic stability of the country. 5, community engagement and conflict resolution mechanisms. Community engagement and the establishment of effective conflict resolution mechanisms are very critical. The government and key stakeholders should foster dialogue between communities, addressing grievances, and promote understanding. Investing in community development projects and initiatives that address the root causes of conflicts can contribute to lasting peace and stability, thereby creating an environment conducive for economic growth and prosperity. 6, government action on currency crisis and support for local economy. Lastly, but not the least, we urge the government to take decisive action on the crisis surrounding the exchange rates of the naira and the dollar, as they significantly worsen Nigeria's economic conditions through inflation. In tandem with this, we call upon the Nigerian government and Nigerians to support locally made goods and services, contributing to mitigating the adverse effects of the current exchange crisis. These recommendations collectively aim to address the intertwined challenges of economic development and insecurity in Nigeria, fostering comprehensive and sustainable path towards progress. It is our hope that in 2024, despite the challenges from the last year and earlier this month, Nigeria will see better days, and that the government and other relevant stakeholders will see to it that we reach the heights we all build to attain. Thank you so much, gentlemen of the press. from the Vanguard newspaper, right? Guardian newspaper, okay, thank you. What has AYGF done in addressing the challenges as mentioned in the speech? Well, as a civil society and development organization, our job is first and foremost to work with governments. We are not meant to solve the problem ourselves, particularly if it comes to security challenges. There's very little non-state actor could do except working closely with government institutions and infrastructures. In this instance, we have been quite responsive, working with governments, particularly in terms of drawing attention, early warnings where necessary, like we are doing today. This is not the first time we're calling on government to sit up and indeed prioritize security solutions for the citizens. That is one, in terms of raising advocacies and voices around the issues of insecurity in the country, but also that we work with state governments, across certain states in the country. And with our presence in these states, we have shared information and intelligence with security agencies. As we speak, before our volunteers or community out workers move to any community on assignments, or before our state team move to any of the wards or communities, they have intelligence as to what security situation or condition prevailing in such communities. When such is shared, the communities also benefit from the intelligence, and then ultimately our modest contribution to the security issues in the country. But on the national scale, on a broader scale, we do have the interest to work more with relevant stakeholders to amplify the issues and the solutions around insecurity in the country. And so this is perhaps one of those steps in the new year to see that we play the critical role we are supposed to play in working with other stakeholders to advancing issues around security in the country. Then number two, are there instances where the recommendations have worked? All the recommendations made in the address are driven from evidence, gotten from other climes and other countries. If it comes to security, for instance, no single government can do it alone, and no single actor can do it alone. You need a whole of society and a whole of government approach to have sustainable, peace and stability, including security, for any country. And so that is what informed the recommendations we have put across. And then importantly, some of the recommendations on the economy are more or less no-brainer, because when you have, for example, the instability in the exchange rate, a lot of businesses and a lot of actors will not be able to make decisive decisions as regards investment, as regards business actions and inactions on routine and daily basis. So the instability in the exchange rate is unhealthy for the economy, and it's unhealthy for the citizens. As we speak, inflation is one of the biggest threats to our existence as a country today. As citizens, every day they go to market, we go to market, and the prices of goods and services are not the same even within 24 hours. That level of risk is not what anyone would want to, experience in any, country. So we have advanced these recommendations on the basis of best practices and shared knowledge within the sector. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So from these answers, do we have other questions?
Okay.
To close at this point. Thank you very much for your participation, and we hope that when we
is to do that. You can, somebody else can do that. I can do that. Okay. Okay, all right, so briefing this morning. We all know how important you are and how tight your schedules. We have very little option in terms of working with the media and how they could potentially escalate and advance responsibility. The development sector wouldn't do so much without the support of the media. And so your feedbacks, and of course express your concerns where and when necessary for us to collectively work together to ideal and indeed developed society. Thank you so much. Please, you're going to work with Miracle and Gifts, you know, in terms of your logistics. Yeah.